one that's not about healthcare. It's not about economics. It's about colorful, fun British people and time travel.
How about a lesson on manners?
Here we go. Whoa, this place is fancy. And look at our fancy clothes. Where are we?
My phone says we're in 1897.
It's the Victorian age. I was just reading about this. We're in London, in the empire where the sun never sets.
What are you talking about?
In this time, the British Empire has so many colonies around the world that it's always daytime somewhere that Great Britain controls.
Your Majesty, I present Sir Leo and Lady Layla from America.
Leo!
Oh, how dreadful.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. Darn it. I'm never drinking soda ever again.
Your Majesty, please forgive my little brother. He's never had an audience with a queen before.
Hey, you haven't either.
Oh, well, we are not amused.
We? Who else is in here? Isn't it just you?
Oh, yes, the royal we. It was said that a previous king on his throne referred to himself as we because he felt he was ruling with God's help. It has become a tradition for kings and queens to refer to themselves as such.
That doesn't make a lot of sense, but okay.
Leo, you can't tell the queen that she doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it's quite all right. There are lots of things that might not make that much sense, but here in Great Britain there are traditions and customs that we like to follow. And we have to mind our manners when others are present. By minding our manners, we show our respect to others around us. We show them that we believe they are worthy of our respect.
Thank you. This is what I've been trying to tell him.
My dear young lady, I'm glad you've been trying to teach him the ways of a gentleman. However, do not be too harsh with him. He is quite young. You both are. I, too, was once a young person who had much to learn. We were not always this proper.
Really?
Oh, yes. I became queen when I was only 18 years old.
18? That's not much older than me.
I was once just like you two. I had much to learn, and I had to learn fast. In an instant, I ascended to the throne. As queen, I became the symbol of the earth's mightiest empire, and I had to behave accordingly. Oh, how easy it would have been to slouch and engage in idle behavior. But then I came to an important realization, that my conduct reflected on my family and my country. I learned that if I conducted myself with dignity, people around the world would respect our empire.
Leo told me how big your empire is.
Millions of my subjects count on me representing them well. 'Tis true that you do not represent an entire empire as I do, but you do represent a family and country of your own.
That makes a lot of sense. I want to represent my family and my country well, too.
Well, I think we've learned a lot today. Thank you, Your Majesty.
Yes, I'm going to be a gentleman. Did I do it right? The royal we thing?
No. Thank you for your time today, Your Majesty. It's been an honor to meet you.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
So that's cute, you know. I mean, it's just this like fun, charming detail that, you know, Queen Victoria presided over, you know, this vast empire, and you know, she represented them well because she was very polite.
Yeah, why couldn't they have just gone to England now? Why did they have to go to the peak of the colonial empire? I know it's time traveling, but it's just kind of strange.
Yeah, they could have just visited a liberal and they could have told them all that same stuff, you know.
Yeah, that is a good question, right? I mean, like sadly, Britain has not yet abolished its monarchy. You know, if they wanted to, you know, like if they wanted a queen to tell them, you know, how to be polite, you know, they literally have one of those right now.
My theory that PragerU deep down like regrets the American Revolution. That's what it is. Deep down, they're all monarchical bootlickers, right? You know, that's what it comes down to. It's like they have a inferiority complex towards the British, and yeah, like they fetishize the monarchy. They're obsessed with it, and you know, what else can you say? And they love British imperialism. You know, they see themselves as America as the successor to the Great British Empire, and part of this Anglosphere. You know,
which to be fair, I mean, is an idea that has very deep roots. I mean, that was the like the Rudyard Kipling poem, right? The white man's burden. You know, that was written as an admonition to America about how important it was. You know, it's like the first line is "Take up the white man's burden." You know, that you know, since like, you know, Britain couldn't do it all alone anymore. You know, like America had to do it. You know, which is something I you know, the context of that poem is something I learned from Christopher Hitchens' book, Blood, Class, and Empire, which is the one he was talking about when he had that great line about how it's a shame that being an Anglophile in the United States means that you like, you know, the monarchy and country houses and masterpiece theater, and being pro-American in the UK means that you want the Pentagon to know that, you know, that Britain, you know, will always, you know, have your back. And it would be so much healthier if being an Anglophile in the US meant that you liked the National Health Service, and pro-American Britain meant that you want Britain to copy America's Freedom of Information Act. But yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that for the next one, though, Leo and Layla should time travel back to India at the time, like at the exact same moment that they were talking to Queen Victoria.
No, they should take their two black friends back to see Queen Victoria to see how that goes down. You know, it's really weird, and like I don't even know who this is for. It's like our kid's gonna. It's like boring. You know, it's these people, like, it's like you're trying to bore the poor kids to death. And yeah, like, why'd you need to learn that from Queen Victoria? I just don't get
That's
it.
really weird.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like, do these kids have parents?
True.
Like you need to time travel back and have Queen Victoria, you know, tell you that like you shouldn't, like, you know, you shouldn't burp in public. Like they couldn't get that from, you know, they couldn't get that from mom. You know?
It does. It's funny because we went from one made for adults to one made for kids, and it almost seems like we're getting at like closer to the Freudian like heart of what the project is, right? Because like, and I think the main point of that video was, like you said, the part where she drops in how powerful the British Empire was and how cool it was that the sun never sets on it, because that was random, right? It had nothing to do with politeness or courtesy, and that was like the main thing that would have been interesting if you were a kid, other than, I guess, the hilarious Simpsons style burping humor, you know, that was, you know, with Minnie AOC and her little brother.
But I'm sure everybody remembers the Animaniacs episode where they meet the Queen of England, and she said, "We are not amused." And Yakko hops up on her, opens up her mouth, and goes, "Wait, how many people are in here?" That was much funnier than you know, what we just saw.
That would have been the little kid would have been executed on the site.
Yeah, no, I just yeah, like that is what matters, though, right? I mean, that there was a lot of cool, quirky details to the British Empire, and they had a very polite ruling class, and you know that's
what this is all about. It's not about teaching manners. It's about like propagating British imperialism and pan-Anglo nationalism on the DL, so that these like little American kids like identify with the British, you know, because they didn't go to see King Louis, for example.
That's true.
They didn't go to see the Spanish king. They've got a king. We've got a queen, apparently, although I think the queen's probably dead, you know.
Sure. They could have learned matters from Marie Antoinette. You know, that'd be cool.
Yeah, there's tons of people they could have learned, and yeah, the people who helped the American Revolution.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like that would have at least been a patriotic tie-in. You know, that like while they were there, you know, like King Louis was telling them why they shouldn't, you know, burp in public. You know, he could have been like, "Oh, you're from America. I'm currently, you know, sending ships and guns to help you gain your independence for Britain." But of course, you know, PragerU doesn't really like the fact that the U.S. has independence from Britain. I mean, they they're I mean, we were talking about this last time Jade was on. Like, they've done that thing where you're so patriotic, you've gone around the Benedict, you've gone around the like Event Horizon, and like now you side with Benedict Arnold.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, really. It's just fascinating watching these people operate, and they're importing their stuff to the United Kingdom as well. Like, they're like bringing the PragerU style cultural war jihad to England to solidify this reactionary sort of political trend. This is the conservative. In Britain, the conservative fantasy is to be like the Greece to America's Rome. That is the conservative fantasy. That's why Biden's election was like not well received by conservative inclined people in the United Kingdom, because it kind of duffed up their like fantasy that they could get some kind of sweetheart deal from Trump and solidify a new political bloc in the Anglosphere.
Not to mention that Biden, is true to his heritage, has made a few positive comments about Irish republicanism over the years. It's like the one cool thing about Biden.
Yeah, I mean, also, so Prager, we found out, is Jewish, right?
Dennis Prager is Jewish.
It's just so interesting to me that's as a Jewish person. I mean, as a Jewish person myself, like, could harken back to some kind of like monarchical time. As I mean, I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that would be interesting if Leo and Layla had gone to find some Jewish people in London at the time, and and seen like what their status was in the British Empire. It's like, oh, so is this a religiously neutral state? Tell me more about this.
Yeah, it's just so odd to me.
I mean, it is weird, but it also makes total sense, right? It's like a completely logical, political sort of alliance or narrative, because really there is a kind of, however flawed the American Revolution was, it was still the, weaponization of Enlightenment idealism. It still based itself ideologically on, popular government, or at least legitimizing the state through the people, and trying to establish a rational system. But, of course, the conservative ideal is the maintenance of hierarchy. And, these people, they're the inheritors of monarchical deference. They are the inheritors of the Confederate aristocracy, and they're the right wing of American politics. And so there is always going to be a tension between the fact that the United States was founded in a revolution, when these guys are so fundamentally reactionary.
You have been watching free public content from Give Them an Argument. To access every single episode of the show, the main show on Monday nights, all of the streams, all of the debate breakdowns, all of the patron-exclusive post-games on Monday nights, all of the patron-exclusive bonus episodes every week, and much, much more, go to patreon.com/Ben Burgis. I cannot resist ending this with, don't be foolish.